Alrighty, not yesterday, the other day I went over the little preview that was in the game for Cobb Vanth's kit reveal. This thing claims it was uploaded 2 days ago, but that's literally impossible because I just did my full scouring of the forums, and this wasn't anywhere. Now, granted, that would have been on a Sunday. Today's a Wednesday, so I guess 2 days ago would have been Monday. Maybe it's up there. I don't know. Regardless, it came out after the fact, but here it is. One thing I noticed that's kind of crazy is this is a 10-minute read, it says. So this is a huge kit reveal. I don't think that means he has a lot of moves or anything, but I don't know what's going on. 10 minutes? Like a normal kit reveal says 2 minutes. So why is this 5 times as long? Anyways, unofficial favorite food, elope. Whatever that nonsense is supposed to mean. Sure, CG. So funny. Anyways, Cobb Vanth, light side, leader attacker constable, the new tag. Cobb Vanth, Mr. Tatooine, is designed as a light side leader who ties Jawas, Tuskens, and a broader constable squad into a single high-performance team across multiple modes. His Omicron diversity allows for an eclectic mix of teams and playstyles. With the emphasis on tracking down outlaws, the team focuses offensively on taking action against those that would mean to do harm. Cobb wants to maintain law and order with his constable associates, but isn't afraid to call in some temporary help through deputizing some of the local inhabitants. Creating a diverse team of constables and Jawas or Tuskens, or both, can lead to some explosive outcomes. The basic, think it through. So he just stands there, pulls out a gun, fires at a probe droid. Looks very basic, and it is the basic, so it's fitting. Deal physical damage to target enemy and gain tenacity up for uno turn. If the target enemy is dark side, they are inflicted with offense down, and constable allies gain offense up for 1 turn. Well, that's kind of cool. It's like you're giving, how do I explain this? I don't know, they're getting the debuff of what you're getting a buff of. So, and is this for, if the target enemies, they are inflicted with an offense, so this could potentially help the whole team too. So for a basic move, you could potentially be giving your whole entire squad offense up, which is kind of cool. If the target enemy is light side, they're inflicted with defense down, and constable allies gain defense penetration up for 1 turn. Okay, so not only do they have defense down, but now you're going to really fuck them up with defense penetration up. That's cool too. It gives, so light side or dark side, you're getting some kind of special buff. I think the dark side one's better. You get offense up, that's cool. But hey, the light side one ain't bad either. If the target enemy was outlaw, dispel all buffs on them and inflict buff immunity for 1 turn, which can't be resisted, and dispel all debuffs on all constable allies. Yeah, I don't like that one. That one's the lamest. Design notes. Cobb represents the leader of the constables, and so a lot of his actions are about picking the right targets. Outlaw enemies that represent some of the shadier dealings in the Star Wars universe will be particularly punished by those that represent the right side of the law. Inspiration. The name is referencing Cobb's warning to the Pike Syndicate while they were running spice through the area and were ready to attack Cobb. Special 1, Justified. Okay, is this like a joke call out to Timothy Oliphant being in the show Justified? He was in Justified, right? Yeah. Is that what this is? Are they gonna have another move that's called like Deadwood or something? Actually, let's take a look at this. I was too busy with the Justified. So he just pulls out a gun and just kind of wildly fires, but does a decent enough job at hitting them. Only the second one misses. See, watch. Hit, miss, hit. Deal physical damage to all enemies and grant a bonus turn to another random constable ally. Allies that have been damaged since their last turn gain retribution for 2 turns. Otherwise, they gain alert for 2 turns. Enemies that damage constable allies since Cobb's last turn are ability blocked for 1 turn. Otherwise, they are vulnerable for 1 turn. So, that means the enemies will have a debuff no matter what, which is cool. I mean, if they have done damage, then they're ability blocked, which is kind of cool. But otherwise, then they're just vulnerable if they never took like a bonus turn or something. Does that actually count with bonus turns? Like, say, as a call to assist. You're technically doing damage. It's not really your turn or anything, but you're doing damage. I guess so, because it only says if you've been damaged. Okay. Design notes. Since the constables are meant to represent those on the right side of the law, having an ability that responds to the actions of the enemies felt appropriate. If those enemies didn't attack us, then we are alerted to their presence and they become vulnerable. But if they were railing on us, then we will be given then we will be givens them the business. Those actions would be justified. High noons. Cooldown 12. It's very high. Zeta and Omicron. High noons. Get it? Because Tatooine has 2 suns. All this is he just kind of pulls out his gun and shoots from the hip. Alright. Cooldown 12. This ought to be something sick if it has such a ridiculous cooldown, because Annihilate has a cooldown of 8. This is 50% more than that, so... Deal physical damage to target enemy increased by 50% per other active constable ally. If this attack is the first time this ability has been used against the enemy, they lose 50 speed and are distracted until the end of the encounter, which can't be dispelled or resisted, and can't deal damage to another constable ally until damaging Cobb. If all allies are constable, Jawa, or Tusken, they gain buffs until the end of the encounter that can't be dispelled or prevented for each unique enemy attacked by this ability. 1. Defense up. 2. Speed up. 3. Execution. This ability can't be evaded. Execution. Whenever this character uses a special ability, instantly defeat the target enemy, then remove this buff from all allies. Huh. So execution everybody gets, and then as soon as one person uses their special, it's an insta-kill. I guess that's why it's cooldown to 12 then. While in territory battles, now the Omicron portion of this, dispel all the buffs on all allies, and they gain 10% max health, stacking for the rest of the battle. Constable allies recover 25% health and protection and gain 25% turn meter. If the target enemy is outlaw, call all constable allies to assist. Ooh, constable allies take reduced damage from percent health damage effects until the end of the encounter. Reduce this ability's cooldown by 6, so now it's only 6 instead of 12. If this ability defeats an enemy, revive all allies. Well, in theory, it should be defeating an enemy, because it's that's kind of the whole shtick, you know? You get that insta-kill thing. But then revive all allies. Okay, that's cool. It's a decent enough Omicron, and kind of justifies that cooldown of 12. Actually, this turns it into a cooldown of 6, so that's even better. Design notes. I wanted an ability... Who the F is I? I wanted an ability that would incentivize going after each enemy that is standing in Cobb's way. If Cobb has success in wrangling more enemies, the team is rewarded with a powerful new buff, Execution, that allows the ally to instantly defeat an opponent. The distracted debuff is the constable's way of breaking the enemy's concentration. I thought distracted was already a mechanic, though. That's not something new. Synergy. We wanted to focus on constables as the law in Star Wars, and the Jawas and Tuskens as the inhabitants of Tatooine that also worked with Cobb. Inspiration. High Noons is a reference to Tatooine and the Twin Suns. And their twin sons? You mean its twin sons? What? And that classical Western duels would take place at high noon, and the cooldown being 12 to align with that. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. I just thought about how it's such a high cooldown. I didn't even think of the noon. Duh. Fact. What happens when using this unique ability against a 4th unique enemy? Wait, what? What happens when using this ability against a 4th unique enemy? What? What kind of a question is that? Answer. Execution would be applied again. Since defense and speed up last until the end of the encounter, they would not be reapplied since they already would be on the ally, but execution is removed upon use, so it would be gained when attacking a 4th or 5th or 6th, etc. new enemy. 2. How does execution work? It's called an insta-kill, like Annihilate. Have you ever played the game before, stupid? Execution is an instant defeat in buff form. When an ally with execution uses a special against an enemy, that would be instantly defeated, and then the buff is removed from everyone. The same rules for instant defeats that apply in other abilities apply here as well, so it can be stopped by can't be defeated or instant defeat immunity effects, and the buff would still be removed after that, even if it didn't defeat an enemy. Unique 1. The Marshal. Zeta and an Omicron, bitch. Cobb has plus 10 speed per active constable ally. At the start of the battle, if there is a Jawa ally, Cobb gains Bounty Hunter's Resolve until the end of the encounter. If there is a Tusken ally, Cobb is immune to damage over time. That's weird. Whenever a constable ally is damaged by an enemy, that enemy is inflicted with burning for 1 turn, which can't be resisted, and can't recover health or protection while burning. Jawa and Tuskens gain 25% turn meter whenever another constable ally uses a special ability. I think the Jawa ally is a cooler bonus. Getting Bounty Hunter's Resolve, so you get killed and then you're revived for one more shot. Versus the other one. The other one's 2 application specific. Damage to immune to damage over time. Alright, so if you're going up against a team that doesn't have any damage over time effects, that means you're never having that levied against you, which means it doesn't matter if you're immune or not. It makes absolutely no difference. Dark side enemies have minus 100% critical damage. So, what is that supposed to mean? Does that mean if they land a crit, it's actually 20% weaker than a normal hit? Or so? 50% weaker than a normal hit? I don't know. Because think about it, the stat for like a standard crit is 150%. So if it's minus 100 of that percent, then you're left with 50%. So what? A crit will make a crit under this will make the crit half as strong as a basic? Dark side enemies lose 50 speed for a turn whenever they are critically hit by a constable ally. Light side enemies have minus 100% tenacity. So in theory they should have 0 tenacity. Minus 100%, that would mean all of it. The percentage of what you have. So if even though tenacity works on a percentage scale, minus 100% of that would mean all of it. Light side enemies dispel their buffs whenever they critically hit a constable ally. Constable allies can ignore taunt effects to target outlaw enemies and can't have their turn meter reduced by light side enemies or cooldowns increased by dark side enemies on their respective enemy turns. Okay. Out of these two, which one's cooler? Have your turn meter reduced or have cooldowns increased? And cooldowns increased, that sucks. So I guess you're better off going up against the dark side team. Dark side team that you have Jawa allies with. All constable allies recover health and protection equal to the damage enemies have taken during Cobb's turn. Whenever an enemy starts their turn, reduce the cooldown of high noons by 1. 2 if the enemy is outlaw. Distracted outlaw enemies can't assist. High noons, what? So what did this say? Whenever an enemy starts their turn, reduce the cooldown of... Oh, whenever an enemy starts their turn. Oh, okay, so high noons, even though it has a high cooldown, it can actually go down pretty quickly. I mean, every time an enemy starts their turn, so there's at least 5 on the team. So after one full round, that's 5 cooldown reductions. So now your 12 is at 7. And then your 7 could go down minus 5, so you're at 2, and then boom. So it's really just like a cooldown of 3, just a more drawn out version of it. While in territory wars and there are no Galactic Legend allies, if there are at least 3 constable allies, Tuskens start the battle with Deputize. Tuskens no longer consume momentum from Deputize whenever they use an ability with more than 10 stacks. If there is a Tusken ally, stunned enemies can't gain bonus turn meter. All distracted enemies can't assist. At the start of their turn, constable allies can ignore taunt effects if they have at least 10 momentum. Whenever Tusken allies use Deputize, revive Cobb and Tusken allies with 100% health. Okay. Tusken allies are immune to damage over time. Whenever Tusken allies use a special ability, Cobb gains protection up 100% for 1 turn. This is a very long move. What was this? This was just a unique? Damn. And this one focuses on Tuskens and territory wars. Okay. Design note. I, again, wanted to lean into Cobb being the Marshal and an inhabitant of Tatooine. So, the harshness of the planet is represented by Son of the Burning. Okay. I mean, Mustafar is also, but sure. And then the martial side plays out and how he deals with those that are breaking the law of the fight. Dark side enemies are being chased by Cobb, so being directly hit slows the enemies down. But light side enemies are punished for critically hitting the constables since they are light side and should be working with us, not against us, so they lose their benefits. And outlaws can't hide, so constables ignore the taunt effects to get to those enemies. For territory wars, I wanted to lean into one of the other factions he worked with in the Tuskens. This can allow for a unique team composition in this mode while allowing for a different comp in other modes. This Omicron in particular helps bridge the gap of the leader abilities from other Tuskens while Cobb is the leader. So there is familiarity and synergy with some Tusken abilities. This focuses on their power with momentum. Yeah, that's a pretty famous Tusken mechanic. Famous, at least in this game, you know. With a full team of Tuskens, they're always gaining momentum. Inspiration. Cobb gaining Bounty Hunter's Resolve is a nod to his purchase of Boba Fett's armor from the Jawas. And his immunity to damage over time is a reference to the Tuskens and their adaptability to their environment. Okay, I guess that makes sense. You're living in, like, the sand and stuff that's blowing around. But the sandstorm's not affecting you. And the ability name is his official title. Okay, what's up with all these ands? That's not how you start a sentence. One, you could pass on, but two? What are you talking about? His official title. Oh, the Marshal. Yep, that's true. Forgot this thing's so long. Look at this. It's still technically going. Jeez. Fact. Do all the speed reductions stack? The speed reductions do not stack with themselves, but different abilities can stack. So, if a dark side enemy were critically hit several times, they would only lose 50 speed, but the negative speed from high noons would apply. What does it mean that Tuskens no longer consume momentum from deputize whenever they use an ability with more than 10 stacks? In the granted ability, Constable allies consume their momentum to deal bonus damage. Tuskens no longer consume momentum this way. However, if the Tusken has other abilities that would consume their momentum, that could still occur at the same motherfucking time. Alright, the leader ability. They look to me to protect them. Zeta and Omicron. At the start of battle, Constable allies gain 25% defense, max health, and offense, and 25 speed. Tripled if they are supports. At the start of the encounter, enemy hot cartel, pirates, scoundrels, and smugglers gain the outlaw tag. Okay. Outlaw, never mind. I was thinking constables. I was gonna say, like, this is a lot of synergy with constables here, and I don't think we have very many constables in the game yet, so, like, what? Then it said the outlaw, and I was like, oh, there you go, and I'm like, wait, that's the wrong thing. But anyways, outlaws, hot cartel, pirates, and scoundrels and smugglers. So it's all like the random faction that doesn't really have good synergy with each other, except for pirates and hot cartel. But, you know, scoundrels and smugglers are just random. Now they're also outlaws. Okay. Whenever outlaw enemies gain bonus turn meter, they can't gain it again for one turn. Okay. Constable support allies at the start of battle. What is up with the support? Why are they focusing on support? This is a lot of things, too. Let's see, they reset the cooldowns of their special abilities whenever they use a basic ability on their turn. Okay. Wow. Whenever they use a special ability, all allies gain 10% turn meter, and Constable allies gain 5% max health, stacking until the end of the encounter. And considering that they reset their cooldowns on a special, that's like, that could be almost like every other turn that you're using a special. So that means every other turn you're gaining 10% turn meter and all that, gaining 5% max health and stuff. Whenever they debuff an enemy at the end of the turn, they also expose the enemy, which can't be resisted until the end of the encounter. Whenever they deal damage, deal an additional instance of true damage. Okay. Chance effects are increased to 100% at their max rank. So something that's like, oh, you have a 55% chance that blah, blah, now it's boom, 100, bitch. Can't be defeated while Cobb is active and gains stealth for 2 turns whenever they reach 1% health. I mean, you don't really need to have stealth if Cobb's active, like, you can't die. So who cares? You know, stealth normally is to be used as like a reverse taunt. Makes it so then you can't be targeted. But if you can't die anyways, who cares if you're targeted or not? You'll just stand there with your 1% health forever. Who else has a mechanic like this, though? Can't be killed as long as Cobb's alive. Huh. That sounds like a pain in the dick if you're going up against it. Well, yeah, that's what it was. It makes me think of Qui-Gon's Omicron. How as long as he's alive, no one else on the team can die. And so a lot of teams try to put a bunch of tanks with him, that way then you're stuck behind a tank, and that means you can't kill Qui-Gon, and then, yeah. Anyhow, Cobb, Jawas, and Tuskens start the encounter with bonus protection, 75% stacking, for the rest of the encounter per constable ally. Whenever an ally, Jawa, or Tusken applies at least 5 buffs to allies, 1 if it's a taunt, or inflicts at least 5 debuffs on enemies, 1 debuff if the enemy's outlaw, that ally gains the granted ability Deputize. While in Grand Arenas, if there are at least 3 constable allies, Jawas start the battle with Deputize. Just like in the last mode, it was Tuskens' deal. Whenever a thermal detonator deals damage to an enemy, constable allies also recover 10% protection. Whenever an enemy gains bonus turn meter, they can't gain it again for 1 turn. Whenever Cobb uses a special ability, Jawa takes taunt and gain 100% defense for 2 turns. Stealthed enemies have minus 100% accuracy. If there is a Jawa ally at the start of battle, allies are immune to thermal detonators. I'm trying to think. It says a Jawa tank's taunt. Are there any tanks that are Jawas? I don't know. I mean, the engineer and scavenger I feel like are supports. Then you have the one that's the leader. Maybe the leader one's the tank, because I know it can also taunt. I just never really thought of that one as a tank, though. I just think of it as leader. Oh no. This one actually seems kind of lame, though. Like Jawas, why would I want to use Jawas with a constable team? You have to have at least 3 constable allies, and that means you can only fit 2 Jawas, and like, that's just weird. I don't want to break up a Jawa team. Keep them all and put them up against Geos or something. And then minus 100% accuracy. Pfft, what a lame stat. I don't care about accuracy. Anyways, design notes. The leader helps define an outlaw for the sake of this team. I wanted to focus on the constable supports to make them a major focus of the squad, and then wanted to provide the granted Deputize to be a way for Cobb to gain some new temporary allies to deal with outlaws and other ne'er-do-wells. For Grand Arenas, I wanted to focus more on having Jawas help to fill out the 5v5 squad. Yeah, like, you're breaking up Jawas, though, to do that. Their benefits from the Omicron will help lean into their thermal detonator prowess even more by giving them immunity to them, and some more recovery from them. Inspiration. The name is a reference to his belief in the role as a protector of those who gave him his rank. Yeah, what's the name? They looked to me to protect them. Okay, I guess it's fitting. To deputize someone is to make them temporary law enforcement, and Cobb relies on the others in temporary ways to help him. Fact. What does it mean by constable support allies at the start of battle? Any character that begins the battle, constable support would require these. That's such a dumb question. Who doesn't know what that means? Did you start playing the game yesterday? What does it mean by chance effects are increased to 100% of the max rate? Oh my god, that's another obvious one. This means that a character with a chance effect will only have that effect increased to 100% if that ability that has the chance effect is at its max rank. Okay. You didn't answer this at all. At least not how I think this idiot needs to be told, because I think they just don't understand what that means at all. They're just too, what's the chance effect going to 100% mean? Duh. And, yeah, you didn't answer this at all. I feel like the real answer is, if a character has a move that says, you know, X percentage, there's an X percent chance that this can happen, this is changing it to, it's 100% chance, which means that it's definitely happening. But the way that CG phrases this, that makes no sense. Anyways, granted ability, deputize, Jawa. Oh, that means they're going to talk about it for each different, oh man. Alright, well, Jawa, if we deputize them, it says recover 100% health and protection, gain 25% defense, max health, and offense, 25 speed, and the constable tag for the rest of the battle. Inflict a thermal detonator on all enemies for 2 turns. At the start of a constable ally's turn, if there is an active Jawa ally, Inflict a thermal detonator on all enemies for 2 turns. Whenever a thermal detonator deals damage to an enemy, constable allies recover 10% health and gain 100% offense. Whoa. For 1 turn. Enemies with a thermal detonator deal 25% less damage. Now, does that stack, or is it just in general? Like, if they had 5 thermal detonators on them, would it be 5 times 25? Yeah, probably not. It's just in general. Limit 1 use per battle? Ew. What? I mean, this just kind of happens. Like, you're going to plan this? No, the granted ability. Oh, I got to plan when I'm going to use this, because I only have 1 use per battle. How annoying. Granted ability, Deputize Tusken. Description, recover 100% health and protection. Gain 25% defense, max health, blah, blah, blah. It seems like it's all the same. The strongest enemy without ambushed is ambushed until the end of the encounter, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. All constable allies gain 10 momentum for 3 turns. Whenever a constable ally is targeted by an enemy and they have at least 10 stacks of momentum, consume all stacks of momentum and stun all attacking enemies for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Whenever constable allies use an ability while they have at least 10 stacks of momentum, deal bonus true damage equal to 25% of the target enemy's max health. Then consume all stacks of momentum. Constable allies gain 5 momentum for 3 turns at the end of their turn if there is an active Tusken ally. Limit 1 use per battle. How does this happen, though? It feels like it's just natural. Like, how are you going to limit 1 use when it just seems like it's something that's just happening? You know, like, just triggering. Oh, it's in the kit. Boop, this happened. You've been deputized. Like, what? And why does it only allow you to do it once per battle? It's kind of dumb. It's like a brand new granted ability, and you can only do it once? Lame. Design notes. The 2 granted abilities apply and provide provide benefits to their respective factions. Jawas will lean heavily into thermal detonators, making them an explosive option for the team. But Tuskens can also be utilized to carry their momentum to control the flow of the battle, or particular Tuskens that may be able to provide significant damage through their momentum. I wanted both factions to feel like they would be represented as members of a constable team if Cobb were the leader. So both Jawas and Tuskens should play similarly under Cobb as they would their respective faction leaders. Inspiration. The inspiration here was mostly centering on Cobb's interaction with Jawas and Tuskens and the Mandalorian. Even if things may not have started friendly between them, Cobb was able to see the bigger picture and work towards protecting everyone. Fact, what does it mean to gain the constable tag for the rest of the battle? Are you serious? What are these dumb questions? It means that you aren't a constable character under normal circumstances, but if you meet X requirements, you will gain the tag that's going to stick with you until the rest of the battle. It doesn't go away ever because, you know, such and such thing happened and, oh, well, no, like these trigger 1 time. It's not like that. It's just there until the battle's over. Then it goes away and you no longer have the constable tag. What's their answer? This means upon hitting the deputize ability, the ally who hit the button will be considered a constable with respect to all their abilities that would apply to them, but would not gain any effects that applied at the start of the battle or that encounter. Oh, is this how they make that a thing? It's an actual button, so like you can choose. Okay, so it's not a natural thing like I thought it was. You literally are choosing what character you want to deputize. So that's kind of more challenging. Now you'd really have to like understand this kit, and then understand what is the best character for you to be deputizing. That way, then you can really maximize that character's output based on all of your kit's benefits that character could pick up, plus the benefits that deputize will give them. This now, knowing that, this just feels like the kit's a little bit too involved. Like, I gotta be that much of an expert on this random kit to fully maximize its potential. Ugh. Anyways, let's see some comments. Garbage kit, you have gone too far, way too far. I don't know if this is a garbage kit. It's just very confusing. There's way too much going on. Too many factions that you have interactions with. Oh, this happens with Jawas. This happens with Tuskens. Oh, if the enemy's light side, this happens. If it's dark side, this happens. If it's outlaw, this happens. And then it's like, okay, now what also happens? Like, a lot of outlaw characters are also going to be dark side. So do both of those things trigger? Or does the outlaw override and so the dark side stuff doesn't happen? And, ugh, it's just too much going on. Like, I stopped commentating on this kit as I was going through it because I just didn't know how to commentate. It's too much. I couldn't properly process it and be able to commentate. Plus, there's way too much that they're saying, so you read these giant chunks of dialogue, and then you kind of start glazing over. So when's territory war getting fixed? What's wrong with territory war? But if they were railing on us... then we will be giving them the business. Those actions would be justified. I see what you did there. What? Raylan Givens justified? Raylan Givens justified. Is that like his name? Raylan Givens or something? Presently, both the Tusken and Jawa factions only contain 5 members. Shifting any of those into a Cobb Constable team leaves those two teams now incomplete. Any possibility for future Constables, Jawas or Tuskens? Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Like, I was commentating on the Jawas would be broken up, so you wouldn't have a full Jawa team. I forgot about Tuskens. Only reason I forgot about that is because I don't even have all the Tuskens beefed up. I only have 2 of them. So, like, to me, I don't have that faction, you know what I mean? But I do have Jawas. But yeah, that's true. Forgot about that. So they're suggesting that you destroy 2 full teams so you could make a new team instead. Oh, which I don't know if it's actually any better. Is there any benefit in actually making, taking these characters and putting them into a constable team, or are you better off just leaving them where they belong with their respective factions? I don't know. Responding to this guy, so it's a garbage kit, but they went too far. Mad cause bad. I'm so excited for this one. What? The start a battle clause for support seems needless. Why make Scavenger Dathcha or Urgor worse in this team for no reason? Who's Urgor? Do you mean This is one of the worst types of lifters where you're ripping apart 2 teams to make one new team instead of lifting up either of them and benching one guy. You're now benching 3 to 4 Jawas or Tuskens for Cobb's new team. Getting a lifter for one of your favorite teams shouldn't require you to never use most of the previous team. Why is Deputized locked to his lead? Why can't Deputized supports benefit from his lead? Why does he need 3 constables to give out Deputized at the start of battle? Just a complete failure of a lifter. I'm disappointed, CG. Okay, this guy took this to heart. Jeez, you must really like... I don't know, Cobb or something. Like, I didn't look at it that deeply. I mean, if they add more Tuskens or Jawas to make them more viable, they could just add more constables too, right? Yes. This other slop isn't going to push sales. Okay, on one hand, you'd be correct. It won't. But on the other hand, the Krakens and whales are stupid. They don't care, and they will go for it so they can get this character day 1. They will go and complain on one hand, and on the other hand, they're throwing their money away so that then they can get them right away. So, yes, it will push sales, unfortunately. You forgot I posted from Internet Explorer at the bottom. What? Okay. Interesting kit. Despite all the whiners, seems like with the future addition of a few constables could make for some interesting combos. Not sure why so many people are sad about tearing apart 2 crap teams. If you're at the point where you are collecting a Conquest toon before Proving Grounds, then those 2 teams are basically useless. And if you're still leaning on Jawas and Tuskens, then you really don't have to worry about a Conquest toon. Well, here's the thing. In some areas, these characters do have value. Great value. Like... In general, no. Jawas suck in general, and Tuskens suck in general. But Jawas, let's say in Grand Arena, or even Territory Wars, versus a Geonosian team, are perfect. I use my Jawas all the time against Geonosian teams. Whether it's in, like I said, Territory War, or Grand Arena. I mean, just in this past Grand Arena, my opponent had set Geonosians on defense, and so I used my Jawa team and wiped them right out, no problem. So, I wouldn't want to break my team up, though, because now I don't have a full Jawa squad to do what I need to get done. So now I might lose to that Geonosian squad. And then as far as Tuskens, granted this is on like 3v3 Grand Arena, but, you know, there's that Omicron that makes Tusken Is it just regular Tusken Raider? I don't know. It makes him a pain in the butt, though. So there's that as well. Now, granted, like I said, it's 3v3, not a 5v5. But still, it is a solid team. So maybe you wouldn't want to ruin that. Oh. Technically, there's more, but we're going to call it a day there. So anyways, yeah, there it is. Very late, but I guess better late than never. Cobb Vanth's kit. It has a lot going on. I don't even really remember it. All I remember is he gets some cool buffs from his basic. Otherwise, just too much to even think about. But yeah, there it was. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I said see ya.